morning. How are you, Namur? I saw you this morning coming a little bit late. I think you had a rough night yesterday or tonight. I had a rough couple of days and a little bit sick with cold. So I hope for the best. I also live stream and recorded, so we'll be on internet for a long time, this performance. So let's get started. My name is Marco. I'm an Italian designer, and I'm currently working in New York in a company called Ueno as a design lead. And today I want to start talking about a story related to 2001. It's not a story from a movie, but it's the story of my career when I started my career as a designer. So in 2001, the world was very different. Social media didn't exist. Behance, Dribble, and all these social network for designer didn't exist. So we could only rely on local communities. And if you were not lucky enough to be born in a big city, it was pretty tough to start a career. And this was me in 2001, fishing around for inspiration, seeking advice, and what you see in the middle is a ladder. That's my career path trajectory, and I have to figure it out what will happen. And I couldn't rely on local communities because I grew up in a small city where digital was not a huge thing. So the only way for me to learn, improve, and start my career was relying on courses, books, and manuals, and magazines. I remember one magazine in particular called Computer Arts that had a lot of inspiration for designers, interviews with designers, stuff like that. And there was a chapter in particular that contained the best 10 websites of the month. So I was waiting every month to find 10 new websites. And this is crazy compared to today. We have daily awards, weekly awards, month awards, and so on. But I don't regret and I don't complain because in that period I managed to rely on my instincts and on my experiences instead of other people's answers. Because the answer that I received at the time was, you never make a living to be a designer. So today, this is the situation. We have a lot of more information. We have tons of awards, sites. We can follow trajectories and careers from a lot of different designers, but we still have the same problem. We don't know what are good or bad references. And I've learned through my career that it's good to be curious, but we should not rely on manuals and books. We should not follow them because follow other people's careers, advice is good, but we should not use it as an excuse for shortcuts. Sometimes we try to follow this fake ladder that somebody else has built for their construction. And when we do that, if the ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step we take just gets us to the wrong place faster. And I want to say this because the future means change, and change came out suddenly. And if you are following somebody else's path or trajectory or design style, then can become a problem because when the future arrives and bring the change, that you can't adapt because you didn't have your own ladder that is built from your construction, made by your inspiration, made by your experiences, and so on. And this is me in 2016, 2 years ago, where I left everything to move to Reykjavik, Iceland. I've been working 2 years in Iceland, and I recently moved to the Ueno, New York office. But for me, moving to Iceland, that was a turning point in my career. And it's funny because 3 years ago, I attended this conference, and today I'm speaking at this conference, and for me, it's incredible because I feel this is one of the best conferences in Europe because it brings so much things related to creativity, and it's not only about design. And I also want to suggest to follow this conference, the talk, but it's most importantly, talk to each other, make connections, because there are a huge variety of people in this room. And 3 years ago when I attended, I came here alone and I make a lot of friends and connections. So please do that after the talk. So let's talk about Ueno. How many of you know about Ueno? Just to raise your hand. Okay, so I want to give you like a quick introduction and recap about who Ueno is. So Ueno was founded by this guy. His name is Haraldur Tollefson, but you can call it Halle. It's quite complex if you didn't lived in Iceland. He founded in 2014 Ueno, and since then we have grown a lot. We went from 1 person to 60 people. We have 4 offices in New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Reykjavik. And we have done so many things. We are working in 3 main areas, which are branding, marketing, and product. And in these 3 areas, we're doing design, development, strategy, and content. This is some of the work that we have been done. We have worked with a lot of TV-based products. This is for Red Bull TV. We have worked on many projects with Uber, from their first website to the case studies, the design website. We helped launch Oculus, the website. We work on many products for Red Bull. This is Red Bull TV. Reuters. Lonely Planet, Zero. This is a fintech company. We work with Visa, trying to make a new way for you to buy a credit card without the need to go to the bank. We work with ESPN. This is the redesign of the 2017 body issue. Dropbox, ClearMotion, an automotive company, homepage for Medium, some stuff for Facebook. This is a chatbot, other video platform. We work with Slack, making their website, helping them building their website. So we did many things. I can spend another 5 minutes, but this was just to give you a brief introduction of who Ueno is. So now what? We did so many things. We have worked with amazing clients. And I've learned through my career that it's important, we should not ask ourselves, now what, but rather, what if? What if we can go from this place to this other place? Because when we start to ask, now what, it means that we are seeking for advice. We are seeking for another person or company telling us what to do, and we are influenced by other people. Instead, we should be influenced by ourselves. And I want to mention on a recent podcast, Halle, our founder, that stated this. We want to design a skyscraper and anything in it. It's quite a bold statement, but I think that's what try to create that what if we can design a skyscraper and anything in it. So we are trying to go every day at work, do our best job, and try to go and do this. So the topic of my talk is lead the change and be in charge of it, because I think it's very important for a designer to be in charge of your own trajectory and careers and do that in the best way possible. So I will try to share some of the things we do at Ueno and some things that I've learned throughout my career. So this comes with 3 main mantras, with 3 main advice, and this is the first: keep learning. And I'm not talking about learning school or from books, but learning through experiences. So for me, learning is like when we are kids and we're thinking about being an astronaut or a football player or whatever. Then we go to school, we meet some friends, and our career and trajectory completely change. And eventually we become a designer. So this is me in 2001 when I was studying graphic design at the school. I've learned color palette, fonts, perspective, geometry, and all this stuff. But eventually I was interested in also in other stuff like MTV, advertising, and I've learned so many things throughout the years, from CGI for cinema to motion graphics, 3D, game design. And all these things and all this learning became what is now my work. And this is some of the stuff that I did before Ueno, and are different projects, but if you see from the same lens, are like kind of similar because they bring my attitude and my experience. And this is me. I'm a weird person. I have my own attitude, and this is what I try to put into my work and to my work every day at Ueno. And this is what everybody's trying to do at Ueno, bringing their own attitude, bringing their own skills, bringing their own experience. And what we're trying to do at Ueno is we want to play together and trying to influence each other, try to grow together and make projects that are relevant to us using our skills and our attitude. So I think one of the best quality that my colleagues have and we have at Ueno is we try to listen. And one of the example is when I joined Ueno, we started our rebranding. And what we did, we basically call different illustrators, artists, 3D artists, and so on, and we asked them to create a piece of art. And the briefing was very simple. We give a palette of color, and we ask them to create a piece of art that creates an emotion and try to represent Ueno. And what is interesting, and what you see here, is some 3D artist or photographer or illustrator that made something that is kind of connected. And this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to listen, and I think this is the best representation of that. And one piece of art in particular is a great example of how we try to bring this branding to the next level. And I'm talking about this piece of art by Guillaume Courtin. I don't know how to pronounce it. I guess this is right. So this little guy, this hot dog, if you know Ueno, it became our mascot. And from that, we built many things on top. We started with the 404 page. So we make this little guy run. And what is interesting here is before that, we never used WebGL as a technology at Ueno. We didn't have a lot of motion, and through the time, we hired talents that can do WebGL, in-house, motionographer, and many other people. And it's interesting because with something small, we grow our team to make something new and something different. And of course, we had to, we take this little hot dog and we had to figure it out where it's running from. So we created the sausage party. Why not? But of course, to create the sausage party, you need people. And so our good friend Romain that is a great designer, and he's also a great 3D artist in his own spare time. He created this character from our colleagues. So this is Justin, and this is Troy, and this is Najla, and they all created the Ueno family. So after we had all this character and the sausage party, we said, well, we can do something cool with it. And last year we launched this, which was a side project for us, which is called Ueno the Interview. It's basically a way for us to let people try to apply at Ueno and be a sausage. So they enter the house, they interview the Ueno people, and then the last level, basically, after they interview the Ueno people with some silly questions and answers, they can unlock the last level, which is like talking with Halle and submit the application at Ueno. So I want to I want to say, lead the change by learning. So you can learn by experiences. You can learn from other people's perspective and try to work together to grow. And what I think is important is it's good to go to school, to read manuals, but then you have to do it. You have to practice, you have to listen, and this is the first advice that I give to myself. And the second one is trust your gut and be your best self. And I keep repeating this to myself all the time. Trust your gut and be your best self. After you have learned everything, forget it, and then create. Learn everything from school, from advice, from your last experiences, but you don't want to recreate the same things over and over again. So forget it. It's going to be fine. The important thing is you have to commit, and you have to work hard, and in the end, your experiences, they will come, they will follow you, and they will make you better. So if you're following so a lot of people are asking me if at Ueno we are using some methodologies or some principles. Of course, we have a few, but we don't have rules. Because if you are following the rule, in the end, you're gonna make work, and nobody wants to look at work. People want to see different things that are different from what you did in the past, and so we are trying to apply this idea to our work. And today I want to share a case study from a project we did for a Belgian client. And I thought that was kind of relevant to present here because it's a client from Belgium, and because we for this project, we collaborated through different offices, and I think it was a good idea for me to share with you like how it is at Ueno, working on different projects with different offices, and with a client that is not specific from the town. So I don't know if you're familiar with Cowboy. It's an electric bike. And the project started with the Cowboy team come to us in the New York office with just a prototype of the bike and the name. And then from there, we had to build all kinds of cool stuff. So our approach is we work with the client, which means literally, or we go and work to their office, or they are coming to our office. And which means there was a lot of travel involved in the project. So the project have several touch points. We work on the website. We work on a mobile app that allow you to lock and unlock the bike. I will show you later. Also, we work on the branding, and we do a lot of like out-of-home advertising and social media stuff, photography, and so on. So everything started with the branding. We did some exploration, and what you can see here are explorations that are going in different directions, from something that is more related to the bike itself, or something that relates more into the cowboyness or the cowboy world, and the technology side of Cowboy. And as I said, our approach is working with the client and is about a true collaboration. So what we usually do, if we are not in the same office with the client, we are taking a call, and we do regular check-ins, can be every day or twice a week. And in these check-ins, we show our file, like our raw file, and the clients comment to say, I like it, I don't like it. And this happened also in this project, and we finally choose the final logo, which is this one. It's perfect, it's flexible. It really represents the sleekness of the bike, and with the little spur that in the end, it connects both the gear of the bike and the spur that the cowboy used to move forward the horse. But of course, the Cowboy is a bold name. It's challenging because the bike have a straight tube that is typical for a very masculine bike. Come only in one color, which is black, so it's very masculine, and the Cowboy name doesn't help. So, but we of course want to communicate to both male and females, so that's why we came up with the pink color. So The pink color can both represent a more feminine, let's say, image, but at the same time is also kind of trendy, fancy, and we can use, with the usage of the font, we can make it cool for both men and women. And the bike, we didn't want to take the bike and use a regular urban landscape, but we wanted to create his own environment, which is the cowboy world. So we created this 3D composition to like have the bike entering his own world, which is a joyful world, and yeah, this is, I think, the best representation that we could give to cowboy. So our approach is presentation is a waste of time. We usually, as I show you, we show the raw file to the client. We don't make presentation apart from this one. This is because you really lose like 1 day, 2 days to put together a deck for the client. Maybe the client doesn't like it, so you're losing your time. You just have to work in Sketch or whatever and share it with the client. And in this way, the client will better learn what is that being a designer is a tough job sometimes, and it's a more direct approach. So while the New York team was working on the branding, the client flew to Reykjavik and worked to the app. So Cowboy is not a bike, but it's also an app that allows you to lock and unlock the bike, plus a lot of cool functionalities. So the client stayed with us in Reykjavik for a couple of weeks, and we pulled off the design. They came with a list of functionalities. The first one was pairing the bike, the app and the bike together, and then the user could lock and unlock the bike and have a little dashboard to see the speed and the duration and the distance that you can do with the battery life. And then in the end, you have a navigation, so you can put your phone stick on the bike and use it as a navigator. The app comes in white and black because, of course, when you are riding, you need, in the morning, a different light on the screen, different than the evening. And then it comes with a lot of other functionalities like statistics, previous rides, and also you can, there is a theft mode, so if somebody steals your bike, you can track it with GPS and so on. So while the Reykjavik team was working on this, the client plus half of the Reykjavik team flew to New York to jam together working on the website. And how we worked on the website was very simple. We have a design team and a copywriter, and they was both working in parallel. And we knew that on the website we wanted to show how the bike it works, what are the main functionalities. So the most important section are, of course, the bike page. So I will show you a couple of screens just to show you the process. So this was were the first wireframe we did. And what you see here is just the 3D render of the bike, just because we want to see where to position the bike, and then maybe shoot photography afterwards. And then we just play with functionalities. So the motor assistant, okay, we show some statistics and the battery, how the battery is detachable, and show the light system, and then if you use the brake, how this is working, and the bike is light. So, and then while the team was working on this concept of splitting down functionalities and work with a narrative, the copywriter put out some nice copy that can fit perfectly the concept that the design team was pulling out. And as I said before, we didn't want the bike to live in the real world, so we wanted to translate this into a cowboy world. So as you see, we have a couple of hands in the wireframe and a couple of other like real physical and tangible things, and we want to remove them. So basically we went in studio, we shoot some photography, and we play with motion graphic element to make this more part of the cowboy world. So This is Robin. My friend Robin is currently traveling the world, and I hope he will come back soon with us. And he used to say, if someone asks for a coffee, give them a piece of chocolate. Do the extra mile. Go for it. Because the client will appreciate that, you will appreciate that, and you will manage to pull out amazing work. We also did some real chocolate to give to the client. It's not very good, the chocolate, but the packaging is, I would say, pretty nice. So the same we did for this project. So we create motion graphics for every single part, and this project was developed by the Cowboy team. So we had to be very precise on the things that we have to hand off to them. And as we did for each screen and each concept, we did for, we built a prototype to show them how was working the website. So you can see here the real prototype. So what we used to say, a prototype is worth 1,000 meetings. You can spend a week explaining to a client how it works, how it looks, but in the end, when they have a physical prototype, then we'll make everything much faster, much smoother, and much easier. So we do this in all our projects, and we did also for this one. And we this also for the app page, where we designed, first of all, in the same way we did for the bike page with all the functionality. And then we created a prototype for each functionality. And we went the extra mile. So we animated each screen, and we sent each animation of the screen back to Reykjavik team, and they could manage to also have both animation on the website and also implement this inside the app. So as I said, our approach is no surprises. We know that sometimes we want to make a shortcut, we make things faster, but we are pulling out every screen, every mobile screen, and we try to provide as many information as we can to the clients. And you see what you really see what you get. And since we are working together with the clients, the client is aligned with the direction we are going, and we are managing to work in parallel. Because of course the client have other things he's working on, and in this case they were working on the stores and in many other activation. So they managed to implement our concept throughout the whole Cowboy experience. The stores are not called stores. But they're called Saloon. They come with a nice packaging. They have a brand book that fits, a manual book that fits the brand, and so on. And also, our approach is sharing is knowing. As we do with the client, we also do it internally. So this is a chatbot. We use Slack to communicate. And every day, in the end of the day, we have this little guy popping up and asking us to share our work with all our offices. So everyone in the company is aligned with what other people are doing, and also this can create inspiration for other designer, or some other designer or developers can comment on the design. So even though we are split in different offices, we are kind of working together, and we are on the same page all the time. So lead the change, but trust your gut and be your best self. We know that some days is hard to work with the client, some days is easier, but we should enjoy the process. Because in the end, if you enjoy the process, you know that you will have some bad days, but it's going to be fine. You're going to put out amazing work. Trends are changing and you are consistent. You don't have to follow other people's styles or advice, because you have your backbone of your experience and learnings that I was telling you before. And this will drive through your career. So you have to approach the project with, you don't have to be worried, it's going to be fine. And fashion is what just out of fashion. If you follow another style, you know that that's going to be old pretty quickly. And At Ueno, we do pretty long projects, even a couple of years long projects. So if we are following a style, then in a couple of weeks we'll become tired of it, and in a couple of years we will not put out a relevant work. And I want to conclude with the third mantra and the third thing that I think is important to remind ourselves, which is just start. Learn everything, forget it, create, and then trust yourself. Trust yourself every day with the client, with on how we are approaching projects. But in the end, you have to just start and pull it off. Because sometimes we use so many excuses to don't show our work in progress with the client or sharing on social media our work because we are ashamed of it. And I think it's important for us to just do it, because as a designer, this is our job, and this is what will make our career move forward so many things. So I want to tell you a little bit about the longest project that we had at Ueno, which is Ueno itself. And for many, many years, for 2 years and a half, this was our website. It was a website that Hallie designed in the very beginning in an afternoon. And for a long time, we just used some excuses to don't update it. And it was working perfectly fine. We was sharing the case studies, the work that we've done for client, but we didn't really represent us. This could be the website that every other agency had. And we kind of use the same excuses. We are too busy with client work. It's hard to brand yourself. And yeah, the new season of Game of Thrones was so good, so I will do it tomorrow, right? So, but then we started. We started with our branding and the artwork that I showed you in the beginning. And we create our business card, our stuff. And this translates into our website. And we didn't launch just our website, and we did a huge reveal of the website. We just launched the homepage at first, and we share it through social media. And then we launched the first case study, and we share it. And this is kind of the approach we used, because in this way, you don't need a huge reveal. You don't have to wait 2 years to pull out your website. Because if you're doing amazing things today, you have to share it. So from the website, we did so many things. From the sausage party, we did an out-of-home campaign out of the SF airport, asking Elon Musk to work with us. We did some hardware stuff. We're currently working on some physical product. I can't tell what it is, but I guess it's a light and a chair. And then we invested in other people's ideas that we believe in, like podcast and non-profit. We hosted events, and we won some awards, and we hired amazing people. We had a lot of fun with them. And yeah, this is what makes Ueno. And so don't wait. The time will never be just right to share it, share internally, share with clients, and share with everybody. Because this is how you track your career for the very beginning to the very end. And in the end, what we did and what we shared, maybe we'll be able to be as a proof for us to show where we started and when we arrived to design a skyscraper and anything in it. So lead the change by starting somewhere, learn everything, forget it, create, and start somewhere. And to conclude, we went from 1 person to 60 people, and we will grow and maybe open new offices. But we want to be true to ourselves. We want to still be Ueno, don't change. So last year we created some values that we everybody at Ueno everyday thinks in order to be aligned. And I will share it with you. The first one comes, we are all in this together. We are diverse. We have 20 different nationalities. and we are open-minded. And we are raw, we say things face to face. We are no bullshit and ultra transparent, and we don't want to hurt each other, but we want to tell things in your face. We figured it out. We are going outside our comfort zone. We know sometimes it's tough. We have art projects. We have to use new technologies, but we are saying yes, we can. Nothing here is someone else's problem. We don't blame the client. We don't blame the development or the design, because the fault comes with everybody, and the reward comes to everybody. So this is what it matters. And of course, we bring the chocolate. We try to go extra mile in every project, but most importantly, life is short and we should enjoy it. Thank you very much.